Welcome back to our channel for your daily dose of the most explosive daytime drama. Today is a beautiful day to dive deep into the glamorous, treacherous world of Los Angeles fashion and romance. Let us unpack the absolute chaos unfolding right now. The Mediterranean sun beats down on the pristine stone of a Monte Carlo chapel, but the warmth instantly vanishes the second Steffi Forrester Finnegan turns her head. A shadow shifts in the manicured bushes. A familiar, terrifying silhouette steps into the light. Sheila, the monster who left Steffi and her husband bleeding out in a filthy alley, has followed them across the globe. The romantic getaway shatters into a million jagged pieces, isolating Steffi in a nightmare from which there is no waking up. This is the exact moment the fuse is lit, and the explosion will leave the Forrester and Finnegan families in absolute ruins. Steffi Forrester Finnegan cannot believe her own eyes. The seaside chapel in Monaco was supposed to be their sanctuary, the sacred ground where she and John Finnegan miraculously reunited after months of agonizing separation. It was supposed to be a celebration of their survival, their love, and their unbreakable bond. But as the salty Mediterranean breeze sweeps through the courtyard, it carries with it the stench of pure evil. Lurking just beyond the pristine white arches, half hidden in the vibrant coastal foliage, is the one woman who has made it her life's mission to destroy Steffi's peace. Sheila is in Monaco. She's standing right there, uninvited, unhinged, and unapologetic. The shock hits Steffi with the force of a physical blow. Her breath catches in her throat, her pulse roaring in her ears like a jet engine. This is not a hallucination. This is the woman who shot her. This is the woman who put a bullet in Finn. This is the psychopath who has terrorized the Forrester family for decades. Steffi's initial paralysis instantly morphs into a feral, volcanic rage. She lunges forward, her voice echoing off the ancient stone walls as she screams at the monster in the bushes. She demands to know how Sheila found them, how she dared to cross an ocean to infect their sacred space. But the true horror, the absolute devastating twist that will change this show forever, does not come from Sheila's twisted smirk. It comes from the man standing right beside Steffi. Steffi turns to her husband, expecting to see the same horror, the same primal urge to protect their family mirrored in his eyes. Instead, she sees something that makes her blood run completely cold. Finn is not shocked. He is not surprised. He is looking down, his shoulders tense, his eyes darting away in a sickening display of guilt. The silence stretches between them, heavy and suffocating. Steffi's brilliant, strategic mind races, snapping the puzzle pieces together with terrifying speed. She demands an answer. She forces Finn to look her in the eye. And then, the ultimate betrayal falls from his lips. Finn stammers out the agonizing truth. He admits that he knew Sheila was in Monaco the entire time. He confesses that Sheila saw his flight itinerary on Lee Finnegan's carelessly open laptop back in Los Angeles. He admits that Sheila boarded the exact same flight, sitting right next to him at 30,000 feet while he traveled to meet his wife. He claims he ordered her to go home, that he demanded she stay away from Steffi, that he genuinely thought he had handled the situation by securing her promise to leave. But the words sound pathetic, hollow, and utterly meaningless to the woman standing before him. Finn actively chose to keep this a massive secret. He walked into this romantic reunion knowing a predator was tracking them, and he said absolutely nothing. The tears that spill down Steffi's cheeks are not born of fear. They are born of a profound, soul-crushing betrayal. She screams at her husband, her voice cracking with the heavy weight of his deception. She accuses Finn of prioritizing his blind, foolish compassion for a monster over the safety and sanity of his own wife and children. How could he look her in the eye and kiss her, knowing the woman who nearly murdered them was breathing the same air? Steffi reminds him of the dark, filthy alley. She reminds him of the blood, the terror, the agonizing months of believing he was dead. She tells him that Sheila pulling the trigger was the act of a psychopath, but his silence today was a deliberate, calculated choice to deceive her. Steffi's mind flashes back to the agonizing months she spent mourning the husband she thought was dead. She remembers the visceral terror of waking up in a hospital bed, her memory fractured, only to realize the monster who pulled the trigger was walking free. And now, the very man who took a bullet for her has chosen to protect that same monster's feelings over his wife's sanity. The hypocrisy is staggering, sickening, and completely unforgivable. Steffi screams that Finn's blind spot for his biological mother is a fatal flaw, a toxic trait that she will no longer expose her children to. She knows that back in Los Angeles, her own mother, Taylor Hayes, is currently navigating the treacherous waters of Deacon Sharp's sudden marriage proposal. The entire family is under siege by Sheila's lingering, poisonous influence, and Finn has just handed the enemy the keys to the castle. Finn tries to reach for her, pleading for understanding, begging her to see that he only wanted to protect their trip from Sheila's dark cloud. But Steffi violently recoils from his touch. His hands, which she once viewed as her ultimate protection, now feel like the hands of a traitor. She declares that this romantic getaway has officially morphed into a living, breathing nightmare. The trust that formed the absolute bedrock of their marriage has been completely and utterly annihilated. Steffi looks at Finn not as her savior, but as a massive liability who will eventually get her or her children killed. With a spine of pure steel, Steffi makes a decision that will send shockwaves from Monte Carlo all the way to Los Angeles. She refuses to spend another second breathing the same air as Sheila, and she refuses to stand beside a husband who lies directly to her face. Right there, in the shadow of the chapel where they once swore their eternal love, Steffi Forrester Finnegan dumps her husband. She tells Finn he can stay in Monaco with his deranged mother, because she is leaving immediately. She turns on her heel, leaving Finn standing alone in the courtyard, paralyzed by the catastrophic consequences of his own secret. As Steffi marches away, her grief instantly hardens into a weaponized fury. She is not just flying home. She is flying toward a brutal, unforgiving war. She begins mentally preparing for the most explosive, ruthless divorce battle Los Angeles has ever seen. She will not allow Finn to endanger her children with his naive delusions about Sheila's redemption. The marriage is over, and Steffi is ready to scorch the earth to protect Hayes and Kelly. The battle lines are drawn, and Finn has firmly placed himself on the wrong side of history. While Steffi's marriage implodes in a spectacular display of rage and betrayal, another Forrester crisis is rapidly brewing just down the glittering coastline of Monte Carlo. Brooke Logan Forrester is desperately trying to hold onto her sanity. The matriarch has spent the entire summer enduring a relentless barrage of emotional blows. She has watched her daughter, Hope Logan, defect to the rival house of Logan. She is engaged in vicious, screaming matches with her sister, Katie Logan Spencer. Brooke feels her grip on the Los Angeles fashion industry slipping through her fingers, and this European business trip was supposed to be her triumphant return to form. Ridge Forrester, ever the devoted husband, senses the deep, lingering funk consuming his wife. He pulls out all the stops, orchestrating a lavish, highly romantic distraction. He wants Brooke to forget about the corporate warfare, to forget about Katie's upstart company, and to simply bask in the luxury of the French Riviera. They share passionate kisses overlooking the azure waters, sipping expensive champagne as Ridge promises Brooke that Forrester Creations will always reign supreme. For a fleeting, fragile moment, it seems like Ridge's romantic offensive might actually work. Brooke smiles, leaning into his embrace, allowing the Mediterranean sun to melt away her deep-seated anxieties. But in the high-stakes world of fashion and family betrayal, peace is merely the brief intermission between catastrophes. The romantic bubble is violently popped by the sudden, unexpected arrival of Fanny Grayson. The renowned French perfumer is a legend in the European fashion circles, a woman whose mere presence commands respect and dictates industry trends. Fanny has a complicated history with Forrester Creations, having pitched her lucrative fragrance lines to the company multiple times, only to be repeatedly sidelined. Just this past June, Steffi Forrester arrogantly rejected Fanny's latest pitch, citing that the company's fragrance needs were covered and pushing the perfumer out the door. Brooke greets Fanny with a polite, professional smile, assuming the perfumer has returned to grovel for a Forrester contract. But Fanny's expression is not one of a desperate vendor. It is the smug, victorious look of a woman holding a royal flush. Without missing a single beat, Fanny drops a bombshell that hits Brooke with the devastating force of a runaway freight train. The perfumer reveals that she is no longer on the market. She has signed a massive, exclusive international contract, and she did not sign with a European conglomerate. Fanny Grayson proudly announces that she is officially the newest weapon in the growing arsenal of Katie's House of Logan. The words hang in the air, heavy and suffocating. Brooke's polite smile completely disintegrates, replaced by a mask of sheer, unadulterated horror. She physically stumbles backward, her mind struggling to process the magnitude of what Fanny just revealed. Katie Logan Spencer, the sister Brooke has always viewed as the weaker, less ambitious sibling, has just outmaneuvered her on a global scale. This is not just a local skirmish over runway models in Los Angeles. Katie's influence has crossed the Atlantic. She is snatching up top-tier international talent right out from under Forrester Creations' nose. Brooke completely collapses inward, her psychological defenses shattering into dust. The realization that Steffi's arrogant rejection of Fanny directly handed Katie this monumental victory only adds burning salt to the gaping wound. Brooke feels entirely isolated, surrounded by incompetence and betrayal. She realizes that while she was busy trying to play peacemaker, Katie was ruthlessly building an empire designed to annihilate Forrester Creations. The House of Logan is no longer a cute little startup. It is a massive global threat, and Katie is wielding it like a sharpened scythe. Forrester Creations is not just a company to Brooke. It is her life's work, a sprawling empire built on the blood, sweat, and tears of the Forrester and Logan families. To see Katie, who spent years hiding in the shadows, suddenly wielding the power to dismantle that empire piece by piece is a psychological blow Brooke cannot withstand. She remembers every time she defended Katie, every time she offered her sister a seat at the table, only to have that generosity weaponized against her. Fanny Grayson stands there, a living, breathing testament to Katie's newfound ruthlessness. The French perfumer represents millions of dollars in revenue, global brand recognition, and a demographic that Forrester Creations desperately needs to capture. And Steffi, in her arrogant, short-sighted hubris, literally handed this golden goose directly to the enemy. Brooke's mind races with the catastrophic financial projections, the media fallout, and the sheer humiliation of being outplayed by her own little sister. Ridge immediately senses the catastrophic shift in his wife's demeanor. He steps forward, wrapping his arms around Brooke, attempting to soothe her with sweet nothings and promises that they will figure it out. He tries to downplay Fanny's announcement, insisting that Forrester Creations does not need a French perfumer to maintain its legacy. But Ridge's words are completely useless against the tidal wave of fury rising within Brooke. She violently shoves his arms away, her eyes flashing with a feral, unhinged intensity that Ridge has not seen in years. This is not the time for romance. This is the time for absolute, unmitigated war. Brooke begins to pace the luxurious terrace like a caged panther, her voice escalating into a hysterical, screaming rant. She screams about the ultimate betrayal of her own flesh and blood. She curses hope for abandoning her legacy, and she unleashes a torrent of venom directed entirely at Katie. Brooke feels utterly humiliated, defeated on the very fashion battlefield she spent decades conquering. The thought of Katie sitting in her Los Angeles office, smugly signing international contracts and stealing Forrester's future, pushes Brooke past the point of no return. The tears that stream down Brooke's face are hot with vengeance. She looks out over the Mediterranean Sea and makes a chilling, irrevocable vow. The Logan sisterhood is officially dead and buried. The bonds of blood have been permanently severed by ambition and greed. Brooke swears to Ridge that the moment her private jet touches down on Los Angeles soil, she's going to unleash hell on Katie Logan Spencer. She will not rest, she will not sleep, and she will not show a single ounce of mercy until the house of Logan is reduced to absolute rubble. Brooke promises that she will use every dirty trick, every corporate loophole, and every ounce of her legendary influence to destroy Katie's company. She will poach Katie's talent, she will sabotage her supply chains, and she will publicly humiliate her sister in front of the entire fashion industry. The war between the Logans has just escalated from a corporate rivalry into a brutal blood feud. Brooke is ready to burn her own family tree to the ground if it means maintaining her dominance. Katie wanted to play in the big leagues, and Brooke is about to show her exactly how ruthless the Queen of Los Angeles can truly be. Will Steffi's divorce completely destroy the Finnegan family? And can Brooke actually obliterate Katie's empire? Drop your wildest theories below and subscribe for the next explosive update.